Here. What's up, chat? Happy Monday, November 15th, halfway through November. It's getting late because started my day talking about Thanksgiving dishes with my sister, and I'm like, holy cow, Thanksgiving, it's like, we about to be done with 2021, and that was a rhyme from gun bars. Oh, the chat is going nuts though. What's up, Stu? Mia Moore, pocket quarterback Lamar Jackson, Josh, Brody, Desmond. It's about dang time. Yeah. What up, Fish? Jenna Sandy, Jay Smooth, Lorenza, Encore. How we doing? How was your Sunday? How was your weekend? How was your DFS Sunday, man? You guys play some football? Yesterday was the day of the value running back before the slate locked, right? And then the slate itself, yeah, Cowboys, cool. I'm not as in love with football as I once was. By that, I barely like it. I'll watch it. But basketball and baseball, especially baseball, that's where my heart's at. So I hope you guys crushed it, whatever you played yesterday. I did see some good screenshots. Actually, shout out to, I'm sure he'll be here. Shout out to Obi-Wan. Took down the $5 contest last night for a quick G, man. That's awesome. Guns music makes me hype. Makes me want to come out Ric Flair robe tonight. Like, woo! Let's go, baby. I'm with it. What up, Crispy? Back from the Big A? Is that a question or a declarative statement? Am I back from the Big A? What's the Big A? Atlanta? I didn't leave anywhere. If you thought I went somewhere, I definitely didn't. We say I'm putting my core for it. Yeah, man. We got a pretty big slate. There's Obi. What up, Obi-Wan? Hey, Obi won. And the state, he won. It makes sense now. It does. You guys, anybody watch AEW over the weekend too? I enjoyed that. It's a good weekend. And I think what I love the most is the temperature change. I love when it gets cooler, right? I love when I'm not out there sweating or it's just that angry hot, right? You know what I'm saying? Like it's muggy and I want to fight you. Like I love this cold weather, man. I really do. Really do. Was that the boys game yesterday? The boys were rocking. What's up, Brody? At the Cowboys game? Let's go. I haven't been to the new stadium. I was at Texas Stadium right before they blew it up. Fun fact, there was a TV show called Friday Night Lights, and I was an extra football player during the state championship episode, and they brought us up there. And this was like a week after Tony Romo fumbled the snap against the Seahawks, and I was a known Cowboys hater, so I was like in, I don't know, petty heaven, being able to make fun of them on their own field and being in the locker. It was a good experience, but I haven't been to the new Cowboys Stadium yet. Adam Page, baby. Yep, that was a good. I love that entrance for Page, man. Simplistic, right? Look, the drone effect, and really, really good story that they told and pulled off. How about my Eagles? Jalen Hurts. Jalen coming through. He turned it around. You like to see it. We have 11 games, man, of basketball tonight. You guys want to see some green stuff? Can you see that? Can the camera pick that up? Oh, you know what? We have a green screen, so I wonder if I can look like I'm drinking Kobe. No, it's not that green. So I got green stuff and bang. So hopefully I'll get some energy here, and we'll be able to uncover, unravel the fire. It is just me, Raj and Chronic, out on business. So we'll be able to navigate a little bit quicker, but also because I can only do so much. If some news happens to drop while we're, chopping up the slate, man, spam the chat, slam the chat. Let me know. What up, Rich Homie Quinn? Yeah, I'm here in Philly, bro. I haven't been to Philly in like 6, 7 years. Good times up there though. Not really, but I used to manage a couple. I used to train up there for wrestling at the arena, and then in my spare time, I would stay at hotels, my car, and run a couple Sonic drive-ins up there. And that was such a bad business model for that area. Does Bang really work, Gun? I want to try some. I don't know. I'm sure any energy drink works for as long as you don't. I'll be honest. What I love most about this thing is friggin' delicious, right? But I drink them every day. So as you drink something with 300 milligrams of caffeine, like I'll also probably have a coffee later tonight as well. I don't think it's really working in terms of waking me up and stimulating me, but I love the way it tastes, so I drink it. But I imagine anything like that that has heavy caffeine, even if it's Monster, whatever it is, your body will tend to adjust. So you maybe cycle through it and don't make it an everyday thing. Definitely don't drink multiple per day like I perhaps do, but it is something that I like. It's probably my super bad habit. But it's not like full of sugar or nothing like that, so that's why I kind of get down with it. It's not an awesome rerun. Hey, no hate. Black Cherry Vanilla, yes. Gun, you're up. You're a wrestler. Let me find out. I'm cool with Jey Uso and Brutus Creed. Nice. Yeah. Yes. My past life was a pro wrestler. I'm kind of like still got one foot in the door, but it's been more so behind the scenes than in the ring. Maybe one day. Won the $10 single entry on Fanduel Saturday night for 1K. Let's go, Josh. Huge. You build up a tolerance for that. So, yeah, that's what I'm saying, Quinn. Like, it's like anything with a bunch of caffeine is probably gonna work, but same thing with coffee. Like now, I might need more than one cup of coffee to get going. So don't get me speaking medical, because I don't know medical. I just know habits, and I love the taste. So yeah. Hey, last night Trae Young dropped 72 DraftKings points on that Sunday night main slate. 42 real points, 8 rebounds, 10 assists. He hit 8 threes in 32 minutes. The Bucks were still a little shorthanded. They had Drew Holiday and Giannis, but they lost by 20 to the Hawks. Hawks at home. Also last night, Steph Curry, 56 fantasy points in Charlotte. That's his old stomping grounds. The Hornets pulled off the upset, 106-102. Nikola Jokic dropped 52.75. There was some squirrely stuff going on in that Denver game. First of all, for fantasy, Damian Lillard was out. Rolled out Saturday, and when Dame's out, we want to play CJ McCollum. Over the last couple of years, his usage just spikes up. Well, the Blazers just couldn't hang. They got smoked by like 30 points. And then on the Nuggets side, did you guys play this late? Did you guys experience that Will Barton stuff? What was that about? Will Barton was ruled out like right before halftime. He did not start, and he ended up not being in the game. So if you guys had some Will Barton yesterday, it kind of hurt. But if you had some Bones Highland or PJ Dozier, Facundo Campazzo, some of those guys actually ended up being really, really elite plays. Highland, my boy Obi-Wan, sent me the picture of his, or sent me the link to his tournament last night. He binked it with Bones Highland. So maybe there's a little bit of a lot of good stuff that happened. Will Barton being out, the blowout, all this stuff came together for those guys to be great plays. And then Monte Morris was a really great play. And I'm sure, if you knew that Will Barton was going to be out, you figure you would maybe land on Monte Morris a little bit more. So a really, really odd game there that unfortunately probably smacked some people the wrong way. Even if it wasn't like, even if you didn't have Will Barton or you did have Will Barton, maybe you'd lean on some of those other plays. But the CJ McCollum side, 50% owned, and he was so below average that yikes. 28 likes already? Let's go. I'll legit fly R out for a big party one day. Um, does Gunn sleep with his Yankee hat? Bro, she likes to stream on Twitch and she'll take the hat. And I'm just sitting here looking like Kanye jealous. Like, that's my hat. Why does she look so good in my hat? No, I put it on. I need to get a haircut, but I just put it on because it's so much easier and I just like it. I need to get some more. What up, EB? Doing all right. Happy Monday. Happy Monday to all you guys. If you guys have already done a little bit of research, be sure to drop your fire in the chat. We're going to talk about some of the news that we need to watch for this big 11-game slate. First of all, Damian Lillard to be determined. That game back in Portland. Jimmy Butler's questionable. DeAndre Ayton's questionable. Fred VanVleet's questionable. Bam Adebayo's probable. Bogdan Bogdanovich's questionable. Will Barton's doubtful. Good to know. Al Horford is probable. Jalen Suggs questionable. And then a slew of other news like Eric Gordon questionable with a groin injury. And I think that was it. Derek Favors is already ruled out. Nothing else major that I'm seeing there. So if you guys are looking for a cool way to stay up to date with the news, man, I definitely recommend the underdog _NBA. Oh my God, this juice. Twitter account run by J Fan, man. It keeps it tight. So we'll keep an eye on that as we go game by game, and we will matriculate on to the next scene, on to the next screen. RunDFS.com is the mothership, man. If you guys are maybe new to the channel or you're watching the stream and you're like, man, that spreadsheet looks pretty doggone nifty, Gun. How can I get access to that to expedite my daily research process? Well, I'm glad your conscience asked, because you can get access to the RunDFS.com VIP spreadsheets for NBA, for NFL, and then when baseball gets here, that'll be back. By going to RunDFS.com, clicking VIP memberships, and finding something right for you. This year, we decided to discount all the prices, just kind of see how it goes. And so far, so good. And not only have we discounted all of our prices versus the last 5 years, half decade, however, but we've also added extra utility to the passes with an integration partnership with Fantasy Cruncher. So if you guys are going to be managing multiple lineups, I recommend using an optimizer, and the optimizer I'm using is Fantasy Cruncher. So if you guys get a RunDFS.com pass, you open the spreadsheet, get my projections, and then you're trying to manage multiple lineups, you can use Fantasy Cruncher. And if you're in the RunDFS.com VIP Discord, you'd be like, yo, Gun, I want to do this with my optimizer. How do I do this? I'd be like, yo, watch this. Sometimes I'll screen share. Other times I can just talk you through it. It's a really cool partnership that Cruncher has allowed us to do, and I love it. I've been using their product probably for 5-6 months now, and it's once you get the hang of it, man, that's a powerful beast at your fingertips. So check that out, man. I'd love to get you guys in that RunDFS.com VIP Discord. That, I think, is probably the most beneficial part of the membership, right? Everyone has projections, everyone can display stuff aesthetically pleasing, but the community is so much of what we do. And every day before lock, for about 2 hours before the main slate lock, I'll be in the RunDFS.com NBA voice chat, and very often does that voice chat bleed over into after lock, adjusting to news. Slates like this big, always going to be tons of news, a lot of late swap potential. Sometimes we're in that sucker all night, sweating prop bets, late swap, stuff like that. So if you guys are looking to grow and evolve and broaden your DFS horizon, community is so important. And it doesn't have to be my community, but I definitely recommend a community. A lot of really good ones, a lot of sharp ones out there. Iron sharpens iron, so go check that out. We will be using the RunDFS.com VIP spreadsheet to go game by game here, kind of absorb what's on the slate today. And like I said, if you guys have your fire picks for each game, be sure to drop it in chat in between each game. I'm going to be looking at chat. I'm going to be calling out what you guys are seeing, what you guys are saying. And if you guys have any questions, any queries, any thoughts, want me to look up, hey, what's the DVP here? What does this guy do against this guy? We got time today. Usually I ain't got time, but I got time today. That's because I don't have Raj to repeat everything I just said. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, anybody else straggling along here? Should we do a giveaway? You guys want to start the week off hot with with a Run DFS VIP giveaway? If so, let me know. Usually a little simple light goal, a little sub goal. We can do that. What's up, Darren? Yeah. How's the shop out there? How's Cali doing today? You guys still warm out there? Cause it's getting right now. It's actually warmer here than I thought it was. 79. Obi-Wan luxurious lifestyle, man. What's going on in chat? You on your way home, stable? Yes, sir. By the way, tomorrow programming note late stream tomorrow. Matter of fact, we have a couple of programming notes. Late stream tomorrow because it's just a 3-game slate. So just kind of make a notation in your head there. 3-game. I don't think it's a late lock, but it's just 3 games. So I don't think we need to be live at 3 p.m. Eastern. So instead, we're going to do 4 p.m. Eastern. I actually drew up with this little card. You may have seen it in the short this morning when you were trapped inside my fridge. Tomorrow's going to be 4 p.m. Eastern. Wednesday, if you guys are looking for some content in the morning, we'll have something waiting for you on the Osmo channel. I think it's me and EMAC talking about the slate that day. Then that afternoon, we'll be live again. Same with Thursday. Another Waiting on You podcast Friday morning. Then we'll be back talking some NFL top stacks on Friday. And then it's normal schedule after that. So tomorrow, just keep in mind, we won't be live until 4 p.m. Eastern. 3 p.m. Central. That makes sense. Celtics at the Cavs. First game on the docket. Project starting 5 for the Celtics. Dennis Schroeder, Marcus Smart, Jason Tatum, Al Horford. And Robert Williams, the Time Lord, taking on Darius Garland, Isaac Okoro, Dean Wade, Evan Mobley, and Jared Allen. Whoa, words are so hard. Jared Allen. We got a 199.5 total in some markets with a 2.5 point spread in favor of the visiting Boston Celtics. So this is actually a game that we kind of just saw play out, right? On the 13th, we get a night of rest in between. Now, that game was a little bit of different moving pieces. First of all, the Celtics were dealing with a lack of rest. Secondly, they were dealing with the lack of Al Horford. Al Horford didn't start that game, or didn't play that game. And I think Josh Richardson was out as well. Yeah, I don't see him in this list. So a couple of guys that might be available tonight that weren't available on night 1. And then also in that game, we saw aggressive ownership on Jason Tatum. He was definitely one of my highest owned players on Fanduel that night, and he was really expendable when all was said and done. 26.5 Fanduel points, 20 plus real points. Still took 20 plus shot attempts, but the peripherals just were not there. 4 rebounds, 2 assists. Usually you can count on him for double-digit rebounds. Is that a matter of being exhausted? That was his 4th game or 3rd game in 4 nights. Is it a matter of the Celtics or the Cavs played pretty big, right? They got Mobley, they got Jared Allen. Could be a little bit of everything. You got to still maintain that goldfish memory, appreciate that Jaylen Brown is out, and understand that there's still a world where Tatum can get back to those 50-plus fantasy point games that he was having in years past. So I wouldn't rule him out here, but he's probably not going to be as high of a core play for me because of such a meager total. The guy that still stands out, though, is Dennis Schroeder. I'm struggling with English today. Dennis Schroeder is too close to 6K on both sites for what's potentially a 30 to 40 fantasy point outcome. 36-53 his last 2 games. Plenty of real points to bolster his floor here. 28 real points against Cleveland. 38 in the game prior against Milwaukee. Milwaukee a little extra time here, but I do think 30 plus fantasy points is a realistic range of outcome here. So I don't mind throwing Dennis Schroeder in the mix. If we had another scenario with Jay Rich and Al Horford was out, I wouldn't mind leaning on Marcus Smart again. Let me get caught up on the Celtics news here. So let me look on my side screen and see if we can get a kind of a lean here. So when it comes to the case of Al Horford, you are dealing with lower back pain. Jay Rich also has right knee tendinopathy. They're both probable for this game. So you put those guys back in the mix here. It could dilute the minute rotation just a little bit more for that guard situation. I don't put big minutes on Al Horford anyway. But I think Smart and Schroeder could be in the mix. Now, an 11-game slate, like I said, such a low total. I'm not going to go too aggressive here. I still like Robert Williams everywhere on both sites. Would like him a little bit more if Horford was going to be out, but I still think Robert Williams has 7K plus point potential at this price point. 46, 35, 40 in his last couple games here. So a guy that just gets it done with peripherals, and if he gets some real points on it, then that's all good too. So 6,400 for Robert Williams, probably still a little too soft. So we'll put Williams and Dennis Schroeder probably as we'll start him off at high tier 3s, and we'll see if we can move him to like tier 2s and beyond. And then I'm thinking Tatum tier 3. What are you guys thinking? Is it wrong to forget how good and how high Tatum's ceiling can be without Jaylen Brown? Or is Dennis Schroeder a little bit different than Kemba Walker? Is this a Cavs matchup a little bit different? Just a really slow-paced game expectation-wise, right? We can pull up that team metrics chart and look at the slowest teams in the league. Boston at 97.3 possessions per game average here. Cleveland's even less. So we got two of the bottom 6 pace teams in all of basketball going at it here. Maybe there's just not a lot of high hopes and expectations in terms of fantasy points. So something to think about. I'm curious to see what you guys are thinking on Jason Tatum here. On the other side, the Cavs, Darius Garland, close to 7K on DraftKings, 6-2 on Fanduel. I'm still looking for 30-plus fantasy points. Life without Colin Sexton is still beneficial for Garland and Ricky Rubio going forward. Those are two guys that I will be definitely watching. I think they're both like efficiently priced for this matchup, for this pace, for this total. I expect a good shot at 30-plus fantasy points. How often am I going to break 40? I don't know, but I do think I'll put them in the mix here as tier 3 options to kind of get there for me for the 30-plus. I do want to look at the Cleveland Cavaliers minute rotation in that last game against Boston, because it feels like Ricky Rubio, although it doesn't start, closes, and that's exactly what we saw. That's what we saw that game against the Celtics last time out. He not only closed that game, man, he checked in the third quarter and never checked out. The Rubios check in, but they don't check out. They just don't. This is really good. Hopefully, maybe that's a trend that we can quantify going forward. So let's open up the Cleveland side. Let's just see if the plan we think is for them to close with Rubio, because I know I like to sometimes think about preventing overlap between players, and it would be sensible to think about, do I want overlap between Garland and Rubio? Well, if they're going to stagger, then maybe it's not as necessary. But if they're going to play together and close, then maybe we think about it. So Rubio, I guess that game kind of blew out. He didn't look like he wasn't part of the final rotation in the game before against the Pistons, but that game did get a little lopsided there. So I don't know. I think the plan would be to kind of rely on Rubio in competitive game here. Right now, it's just a bucket and a hook. So give me Garland, Rubio, tier 3. Give me Robert Williams and Dennis Schroeder, tier 2. And then Tatum. That's where we're meditating, chat. What do you think about on Jason Tatum before we move on to the next one? Tell the big meanie we want a puppy. Maybe not. Gunn, I'd love to see you on the Jordan Cooper's Theory of DFS show. I think it would be awesome. That guy's way smarter than me, man. He'd probably just clown me, right? They want me on a stream, and they want me to have a puppy. No puppy. Maybe a stream one day. No puppy. Jason Tatum, don't like watching Schroeder dribble too much and then shoot like Jason Tatum does. Do you take Smart over Schroeder on Fanduel based on ownership, or always Schroeder? I think I won't say always Schroeder, but it's most of the time going to be Schroeder, just because Marcus Smart, usually for him to have a strong game, it's going to come, one, at the down game of Jason Tatum, and two, he's not going to be as likely to shoot at the volume of which a Dennis Schroeder is or somebody else is. Matter of fact, looking at that last Celtics game, all of his points came from free throws. He was 0 for 5 from the field. The peripherals is what got him there, 5 steals. And we know historically Marcus Smart is a not quite 3-and-D, but a heavy defensive type of guy. And that's okay. Like, it's okay to be a stat stuffer and peripheral getter, something like that. But at 5,400, comparatively to Dennis Schroeder, especially thinking about maybe Josh Richardson back in the mix to maybe soften the responsibility here for minutes on Marcus Smart, it would almost always be Dennis Schroeder over Smart for me in like short field decision making. Not to say I wouldn't get to some Smart, but yeah, the seesaw is way more in the Schroeder side of things for me. But that's just because Schroeder's likely going to chuck the ball 15, 20 times, right? Quinn says, if I play Tatum, I'm playing a couple of other pieces in this game with him. This game needs to go way over the total for Tatum to get there. That's fair. I'll probably have a bit of Tatum. All right, Stu. Big League Stu. Josh Redford said, I don't really like Tatum in a slow game like this. What's Tatum? I don't know what Tatum's ownership is here. But yeah, like I said, like I don't want to not have Tatum. Right now I think I'm going to start him as a tier 3. If I had to cut some pieces on 11-game slate, he's definitely likely to be expendable. But DKP by game log without Jaylen Brown. Let's go last 10 games. I just feel like without Jaylen Brown, I don't want to feel how remorse at the end of the night. It was like, man, how obvious was it that he dropped 60? But I guess if you look at his last 10 games without Jaylen Brown, there's really only one slate breaker at his price point today, and that's at 76 in 41 minutes against the Brooklyn Nets. Looks like part of a playoff game. So maybe I'm remembering too much of the upside versus and not appreciating where his price point is today, 95.98. So maybe those are like AK Tatum days, and the heart wants what the heart wants. But Rubio, Garland, Robert Williams, right? Let's move on to the next game. Here, what up, Valdo? Jesse, not in same lineup with pieces from game. And with that, I won't play Tatum, therefore he's dropping 50 real life points. He will take a lot of shots, and that's, even if the team's only implied for 101, he could have 40 of them. Sacramento Kings at the Detroit Pistons. Another game right there at lock. Sacramento Kings project starting 5. De'Aaron Fox, Tyrese Halliburton, Harrison Barnes, Chimezie Metu, and Rashawn Holmes taking on Killian Hayes, Cade Cunningham, Sadiq Bey, Jeremy Grant, and Isaiah Stewart. Kelly Olynyk still out. We got a 214.5 total. And the visiting Kings here favored by 4.5. So intriguing matchup to say the least. Tyrese Halliburton looks like he's back in the mix here. And so is Terrence Davis. There was a stretch where either or both had been missing. That had been increased opportunity for Buddy Hield, Davon Mitchell, and more usage for a guy like De'Aaron Fox. And we saw some big games out of him. With everyone back together, I don't feel as enamored by any specific spot. Obviously, they can all kind of make the player pool here. Rashawn Holmes is the guy that's a little bit most intriguing to me. It does get a little annoying when Luke Walton kind of like looks at Alex Len or Tristan Thompson, and then we got too many chefs in the kitchen, and I'm trying to get Rashawn Holmes to cook. But if you can get me to 30-ish minutes on Rashawn Holmes, I don't mind going his way. Just kind of looking at where the Kings are bleeding fantasy points. We'll put a little context to it in a minute. It's been the shooting guard and center spot. And if we maybe look at the rebound rates here, I guess we can get that on the index portal. Rebound rates for the Kings is really bad. A 21% offensive rebound rate, 75.7% defensive rebound rate. And that is actually a strength of the Pistons, is their rebounding. To put that in context here, let's go to that team metrics tab in the rundfs.com VIP spreadsheet, and let's sort it by best rebound rate to least, at least the defensive rebound rate. And Detroit, did you know Portland's number 2? That's actually incredible considering how not great they've been. Detroit's top 10 right now, while Sacramento's bottom 10. So it should be a plus matchup for the peripheral getters. Isaiah Stewart has entered the chat. Do we trust him to stay out of foul trouble? Remember, without Kelly Olynyk here, there is some potential minutes there for him to get. 2 games ago in the first game without Kelly Olynyk, he got 2 quick hacks and had to sit down. Luka Garza came in, but then he curtain calls that with 32 minutes and 20 real points. Doesn't really complement his real points with peripherals here, but I think, all things considered, 7+ rebounds is probably a realistic expectation here, averaging 8 on the season. So I might get to some Isaiah Stewart in the player pool. It would probably be tier 3 levels. I think he's power forward eligible on FanDuel as well, so that's a plus. Other than that, Sadiq Bey, Jeremy Grant, Cade Cunningham, Killian Hayes are all kind of auxiliary, on the edge of comfort fringe plays. I would be remiss if I didn't mention how big of a game Killian Hayes just had, while I was pretty bullish on Cade Cunningham. So if you guys missed it, Killian Hayes did drop 13 real points, 10 assists, 7 boards on 40 and a quarter DK fantasy points. That's back-to-back really strong games at a $4,500 price point. Could that continue here against a softer matchup Sacramento Kings? That's up to you to decide. I think I would put him as a fringe value play, risky value player in my player pool. Kind of see what happens here. But it is interesting to see that kind of pick up. 6 steals was what bolstered his Cleveland game. So thinking about him getting 6 steals against Cleveland and then Marcus Smart getting 5 steals against Cleveland, maybe that's just a Cleveland thing, right? They're turning the ball over at a pretty decent click, at least to some opposing guards here. Something to think about. But usage-wise, Sadiq Bey, Jeremy Grant, probably the two guys most likely to get above tier 3 levels of exposure to me. I definitely like picking on the Kings. Their defensive rating, pretty sour, 110.2 points per 100 possessions. Could be a boost for this really, really bad offense of the Pistons. The Pistons' offensive efficiency, not great. So you can sell me on a little bit of Pistons shares. Errantly speaking, I think it would have to be beyond 50 lineups for me to feel good about getting some exposure to them. I think on 11-game slate, I really want to lock in on a couple of games and then build from there. So in 20 or less, I don't know how confidently I arrive to this game with a fully healthy Kings rotation. But as we get to 100, 150, that's where I would kind of start dropping some of these nuggets in the bucket. And Grant and Isaiah Stewart are the most intriguing to me. I think Jeremy Grant has the strongest case for me to be introduced into a line or a player pool of 20 lineups or less without Kelly Olynyk. I'm expecting deep minutes on him. 36 minutes in a competitive game against Toronto, 35 in a competitive game against Houston. You know he's going to lead the team in usage. He's going to get enough peripherals to boot. So probably Grant in 20 or less, and then everything else is getting to like 50 lineups for me. Let's get caught up on what you guys got before we matriculate on to the next one. Lorenza says, give me all the Isaiah Stewart. Great filibuster. What a filibuster. Isaiah Stewart has a good history, and the Kings give up a good amount of boards. Yes, sir. I like Fox, Holmes, and a little bit of Hield. Cunningham is the only one I might have on Detroit. So let's put some numbers to Detroit. I guess just on the season, right? Let's go look at the NBA Wowie tool. You guys want to use this exclamation point AMF in the chat. Just kind of seeing when you put it all together here, and I'm not gonna put X and X on, but I will take Kelly Olynyk off just to get those minutes out of the mix. But when we put it all together, man, who's just like getting to 20 plus 25% usage rates, because I really don't want to get too thin in some spots with my volatility. And Jeremy Grant's the guy, 27% usage rate, Josh Jackson, but we don't expect him to overlap big minutes wise. This is actually going back to last year, so let me bring it to this year. Let's go October 19th. October. So this year, yeah, Jeremy Grant still at 27%, Cade Cunningham at 26%. So if you want to keep believing in Cade Cunningham, I think it's reasonable. There's going to be good nights, bad nights. It's going to be the Cade Cunningham experience, but looks like Jeremy Grant's the guy that we should be most intrigued with, averaging over a fantasy point per minute, 27.8% usage rate, no Kelly Olynyk. So in 20 or less, he would be my main guy from this game to kind of get access to, and everything else would be beyond 50. And that's all I got to say about that. Dang Lazy Mofo says, I hope Off Night guards Cade and he shoots his highest percent of the season. Off Night, by the way, the nickname of Davion Mitchell, if you guys didn't catch that. Especially with no contention at the rim. Yep, Isaiah Stewart is too volatile to have all of the Isaiah Stewart. It definitely a potential foul problem. But the matchup is nice. The matchup is really, really nice for Isaiah Stewart. So I wouldn't talk anyone off that ledge. My projection has him right about 6x on the nose, 5,100 on Fanduel, 5K on DraftKings, 30, 28 respectively. So if he lived up to the projection, he'd be a fine stocking stuffer to kind of get there. Lorenzo, your birthday was on October 19th. Nice. That was the opening day for this NBA season, right? New Orleans Pelicans at the Washington Wizards. Project starting 5 for the Pelicans. Friend of the channel, Devontae Graham, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Josh Hart, Brandon Ingram, and Jonas Valanciunas taking on the Washington Wizards. Spencer Dinwiddie, Aaron Holiday, Kentavious Caldwell Pope, Kyle Kuzma, and Daniel Gafford. The Wizards will be without Bradley Beal again. I believe he's out with bereavement. I believe 207.5 is a total for this one. 4.5 point spread in favor of the Washington Wizards. Chat, did DraftKings do enough to get you away from Spencer Dinwiddie? I'm going to say probably not for me. Just a flash at the DVP, and I'll give you some names to kind of put context to it. But so far, it's been point guard, power forward to really, really thrive for DFS purposes against the Pelicans. And then centers aren't doing too bad either. Interesting, because in the absence of Bradley Beal, who would we kind of lean on? Point guard Spencer Dinwiddie, power forward Kyle Kuzma, and backup center Montrezl Harrell. Man, it's a match made in heaven. You want some names and numbers put into it? We can do that. Looking at the last couple point guards against the New Orleans Pelicans. By the way, I mean it's Devontae Graham. That's my homie, but he's not super tall, right? He's not really built to shut people down. Washington. So John Morant, James Harden, SGA, Luka Doncic, Steph Curry. Not fair, but they have been absolutely going off in this spot against the Pelicans. And then power forwards are a little bit more realistic. We got Jaren Jackson Jr., KD was in there, Darius Bazley, Porzingis, Draymond Green. And center-wise, Steven Adams just dropped 41 DKP in 37 minutes. So really strong matchup here for the three main beneficiaries in Bradley Beal's absence. So those are going to be three guys I get to quite a bit. Dinwiddie, Kuzma, and then Montrezl Harrell. So Harrell on Fanduel is AK, and he becomes very expendable at that price point. Not at all a priority, but at 6,500, I think there's plenty of meat still left on the bone considering this matchup. I'm looking for 30 plus, and I think in this spot, it wouldn't shock me if he gets to 40 plus. 38, 45 his last two games in very, very limited minutes. If you get him to full reign here, I think Montrezl Harrell definitely could be one of those risky plays that pays off, gets you that 40 plus. But Dinwiddie and Kyle Kuzma, would you guys start a lineup, let's say a cash game lineup with these two? I think it's viable. I think on FanDuel, Dinwiddie becomes almost a free square at 6,500. A little bit of thought process behind him on DK, but I still think it's there. And then, like I said, Kuzma. So if you guys want the official numbers, we can do that. We can go pull up the Washington Wizards NBA Wowie tool offered by addmorefunds.com. Check it out. Really, really strong free stuff, but also some really cool paywall stuff. So let's take Bradley Beal off for the Wizards this season. Let's put Dinwiddie on. Let's put Kuzma on. And I'll ask you guys this. Is there anyone past Kuzma, Dinwiddie, Montrezl Harrell that you realistically see yourself getting to? Aaron Holiday, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Raul Neto? Where's my boy Chronic at? Of course, Chronic wasn't available today. We got 56 minutes of sample size this season of Dinwiddie, Kuzma on, Bradley Beal off. Dinwiddie, 30% usage rate. Kuzma, 24% usage rate. Dinwiddie's at a 1.4 DKP per minute production. Obviously, 56 minutes, you probably expect that to dilute a little bit, and this wouldn't sustain. But I think it's fair to say, as he goes today, so do the Washington Wizards. So give me some Dinwiddie, give me Kyle Kuzma. I think tier one. Thinking it. Lorenzo says I'm locking Spencer today. Lorenzo says stack this game. I'm with that. Way better team with Ingram. The Pelicans, well, yeah. I'm still playing lots of Dinwiddie. His rates have been really high without Bradley Beal. Dinwiddie's best. But yeah, you guys are on the Dinwiddie train. Let's go. Dinwiddie safe for 40 tonight with potential 45-50. Yep. Lorenzo says Joe Val, I light. Joe Val's I light okay, I see what you're saying. He's smaller. Okay. All right. What's up, Jeremy? Often Jeremy spoke, and maybe Neto, maybe Holiday. I'm with that. Neto over Holiday. Man, you guys are teetering on some risky stuff. I think so. I'm not gonna talk anyone off of Neto and Holiday, KCP either. I will say just appreciate how volatile they can be. Danny Avia. All these guys can just be 20 to 24. If we're being honest, on an 11-game slate, anything under 30 from a value play is probably not going to be as strong, but especially if it's like barely at 20. So I think these guys are fine to sprinkle in the player pool for bigger field tournaments. I don't know how often I'm going to get there in 20 or less. So I don't know. I just wanted to at least make you guys aware that I'm not that enamored by Raul Neto, who's just more than likely going to get you 30. And this, if you guys were in the RunDFS.com VIP Discord on Saturday, this actually ended up being a strong debate between me and Chronic. We had a $20 bet on it. If you follow me on Twitter, you know your boy won it. But Neto, people think or remember Neto for like this big 30-point game. DKP by game log, we'll say without Bradley Beal, I don't know, last 10 games. He there was a game where he dropped like 30, high 27, but more than often than not, Raul Neto basketball is about 20 DKP. Nothing to really shake a stick at, get out of bed for. So just, I don't know, just appreciate the median outcome and don't get overhyped out of the 10% outcome, right? Or depending on the sample size here, if we open it up, it could be, the 5% outcome. So just like, I don't know. Don't think too highly of Neto. Obviously, 150, bless you, on 150 lineups, you get to a little bit of an exposure to him, but I don't really see like the appeal of his ceiling, because the ceiling is really not that great. And I think that 30 game had to come without like with a couple other outs. On the Pelican side here, Devontae Graham, 5,800 on FanDuel, 6,300 on DK. Looking for 30 plus fantasy points. I think the price is fine. Same with the entire Pelicans lineup. I think Jonas Valanciunas is the most intriguing option to me. I think 40 plus fantasy points is there. Brandon Ingram is being worked back in. I did not know what to kind of expect or project for his minutes here because he came back, played 29 minutes, and they said they would be monitoring his minutes and maybe limiting. 29 is a good start. Do we stretch it to 32? Is it 33? Is it off the chain already? It's just a hip contusion, right? It's not like this dude, you know what I'm saying? Like, so if you guys think he's off the chain here, I think Ingram also could be in the mix as a potential play here, going against his old buddy Kyle Kuzma. And then Josh Hart, peripheral, getting guard, wing, kind of fill in some minutes here and pick up some peripheral. So I think if I had to start nominating people for a 20 or less player pool, Dinwiddie and Kuzma I think have a chance to be tier 1 for me. And on DraftKings only, I get to Montrezl Harrell at probably a tier 3. And then on the Pelican side, I think everyone would probably be tier 3 for me. Devontae, J-Val, the Wizards, for what it's worth, man, they're putting up some real work right now. And their defense you have reason to believe in their defense. So, yeah. Jeremy says I'm not playing Neto much, just a little. Yeah, I think just a little in like big field. What's the usage with no Beal this year? Sure, we can look that up. I don't know how much. We did look it up. 30% on Dinwiddie, 24% on Kuzma, and then the point per minutes or over 1 for both Kuzma and Dinwiddie. Those would be my tier 1s. Now, again, the minutes are not like massive here, but I think it's not that hard to know that in Wizards teams past without Bradley Beal, and especially now without Rui Hachimura and Thomas Bryant still, like it's going to be a two trick pony, and everybody else, or really a 3 trick if you throw in Montrezl Harrell, and everybody else is just kind of gonna play a role here. And if a Holiday gets hot, if a KCP gets hot, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I think there's room for a 4th guy, but I'm not that enamored by anyone past Dinwiddie and Kuzma. Quinn says, spoiler, there's probably going to be better value 4K or below, better than Neto and Holiday. Probably, yeah. Paul Reed, if Gafford starts rebounding, he may get more minutes. P. Reed, if Gafford starts getting... question, is one of those Highland, the other Tucker? Yeah. Did you win gun to get the puppy? Stop it. There will be no puppy getting. I don't care how many likes I get. Gosh dang it. We are not getting no goddamn puppy. Not yet. Not yet. I'm not anti-dog, but I want a different place before we get a dog. I was thinking THT and Caruso. Caruso started and played heavy minutes last night. Yeah. Remember, Kuzma is the reason Brandon Ingram got traded, other than health condition as excuse. A little bit of extra zazz there, sure. Atlanta Hawks hosting the Orlando Magic. Hawks night 2 of a back-to-back. Smacked up on the defending champion Bucks last night. Today they get the Orlando Magic. Project starting 5 for the Magic: Cole Anthony, Jalen Suggs, Franz Wagner. Wendell Carter Jr., Mo Bamba taking on Trae Young, Bogdan Bogdanovic, Kevin Herter, John Collins, and Clint Capella. 214.5 total, 10.5 point spread in favor of the home team, Atlanta Hawks. Orlando Magic make no sense, man. They make no sense. They're so good and so bad at the same time. Looking at this Hawks matchup, Trae Young, man, after last night, I could definitely see some people wanting to double down here in what's perceptually a better matchup than Drew Holiday, right? So I wouldn't talk you off that ledge. Historically, my rule with Trae Young has been like 20%, right? He's so volatile that I don't want more than 20%, and then it's on me if I go under 20%. Magic are projected to get kind of smacked here. Bogdanovic still listed as questionable. We did see that DeAndre Hunter is going to be out for the count for quite a bit, so that should up minutes and expectations for Kevin Herter, who's down to 3,800 on DraftKings today, and that's something maybe we should keep in mix. I mean, especially if we're here talking Raul Neto, let's talk some Kevin Herter. If you guys remember the Utah Jazz game, sure, that came without Bogdanovic, but the upside's there in him. The shot volume likely going to be there. And let's see what he did last. I guess we'll look at his minutes run last night against the Milwaukee Bucks in the absence of DeAndre Hunter. Kevin Herter played 33 minutes. Even if he sucked there, I think the minutes here might just be too much against a defense like Orlando to not appreciate. Right, double-digit shot attempts is probably going to come his way. I think 3,800 is too low on Kevin Herter, so we're gonna throw Kevin Herter probably in the value pool. And if Bogdanovic ends up not playing this game, he has a Q tag due to a right ankle soreness back to back. You're a massive favorite here. I'm just saying it's probably more incentive to be cautious than throw out Bogdanovic against the Magic. If Bogdan's down, Kevin Herter would absolutely be a core value play for me. And like I said, that would be very reminiscent of the Jazz situation, right? They played Golden State, and then the night two of a back-to-back, they went into Utah. Bogdanovic was out. DeAndre Hunter was out. Kevin Herter was inserted into the lineup, took 18 shot attempts, 28 real points, and dropped 40. Now, this is probably a little anomalic, right? A little bit on the ceiling side. But at 3,800, I don't need 40, right? So, yeah, Kevin Herter has a real shot to be a big-time play for me today on DraftKings, and Fanduel 4,200 is just as fine. So, I'm there on that. Orlando Magic are, for fantasy, better than their real life outcome. I think Mo Bamba and Wendell Carter Jr. 30 to 40 fantasy point shots here. Mo Bamba can get really crazy with the blocks. Do you project a lot of blocks here against Capella and Collins? It's possible. I'm not going to get too crazy with it, but I think it's they're worth considering because of their recent history. But I think Kevin Herter's the guy that I really want to keep an eye on here. Let's get caught up on chat before we move on to the next game. Stu says Herter, Collins, and Capella. I'm with that. Quinn, you're on it. I'm on one. What's up, Josh Gilham? Yeah, a lot of Joshes in chat, man. We our populace of Joshes, I think per capita, have to be the highest out of any YouTube chat room in all of existence, right? Unless it's just like. Wasn't there a Facebook group of, was it Josh's? It might have actually been Josh's. It's like all Josh's have to meet on this day. And then they had like this big old, pool noodle fight. Look it up. It may not have been Josh specifically, but it was something along those lines. 282 last night on DK with the 0 from Alize Johnson. No, that's tough. Someone called me from work. I was about to yell, "You hear?" Stop myself. Nah, man. Go on, hit him with it. Here, somebody knocks at the door. Here, somebody. Any updates on Suggs injury? Let's see what I got for you. By the way, I'll put this link in chat if you guys want. This is the depth chart. That it used to be Roto World, now it's NBC Sports Edge. Basically, conveniently, they list every team, and then you'll see they have these mouse over opportunities and then you'll see like these yellow notepads against somebody's next to somebody's name. And that you can click on that. It won't bring you to a new page. It'll just pop up a news thing. But it says Jalen Suggs sprained right ankle, questionable for Monday's game versus the Hawks. Suggs got hurt during Saturday's game, and the silver lining here is that he's just day-to-day, implying it wasn't a severe sprain. If he's out, Orlando's plethora of guards and wings should absorb the minutes, with R.J. Hampton, Gary Harris, and Terrence Ross as the likely candidates for minutes bump. So no update there, but hopefully we'll have that information sooner than later. If he's out, Terrence Ross, I think historically would be the first guy we look at, and that's where I would be at here. So you guys got any strong takes on the Magic? I've been saying, Cole Anthony, every now and then he's dropping 50, 60 fantasy points, but I just don't get to him a lot. And at 7-6, 7-4, I don't feel like the opportunity risk reward is balanced enough, but I obviously wouldn't rule out him having one of those big games. My algorithm did put him at over 40 fantasy points, and I get, maybe 40, like 7K for 40. I'd take it, but I just like, what is it about Cole Anthony that I don't get to a lot? And the field never really plays Cole Anthony either. 40, 26, 51, 44. Like, are we under respecting Cole Anthony as a community for fantasy value and expectations? I feel like the short answer is yes. And if Jalen Suggs is down or limited or out, hey man, probably more reason to get behind some Cole Anthony, especially going against Atlanta Hawks, where I get to Trae Young defensively before I feel super great about picking on Capella, at least, right? Cole Anthony, I'll play any point guard against Trae Young. Okay. Carter, Bamba, Darts, maybe went Anthony with that. Suggs practice this morning. That's good to know. What up, MCM Playboy? Do you think Lakers go big tonight? Anthony Davis and Westbrook. Do you think they go big tonight? Like, go big, like size-wise, with like DeAndre Jordan in the front court, or like go big, like, all right, we gotta stop losing, let's go big. I would probably say that their best lineup is AD at the 5. If you're just trying to score and not get blown out, get Taylor Horton Tucker in the mix, more crossover for Carmelo, Malik Monk, stuff like that. So I would probably expect him to play AD at the 5 still, but we'll get to that. Josh plays DFS, the Josh gang. So many Joshes. Give Cole Anthony the old Trae Young rule, the 20% rule. Maybe. I feel like he's been more consistent than old Trae Young, to be honest, but we just don't play him. And I get it. If we miss out on 40, oh well, 7K, 11 game slate. That's the bare bones I'm in, but man, he's been doing it. Let's move on. Bless you. Knicks hosting the Pacers. Project starting 5 for the Pacers. Malcolm Brogdon, Chris Duarte, Karis LeVert, Domantas Sabonis, and Miles Timmy Turner taking on Kemba Walker, Evan Fournier, RJ Barrett, Julius Randle, and resting Mitchell Robinson. 213 with a 3.5 point spread in favor of the home team, New York Knicks. Karis LeVert, 31 minutes on him here. He's a guy that we've been watching, minutes monitored, days off, stuff like that. When he's out, it's a boost for Malcolm Brogdon, boost for Sabonis. 25 minutes against Philly on the 13th. Do we build more than that? It says that he is unlikely to play minutes into the deep 30s. What the does that mean, bro? Deep? So I guess, until further notice, we still have to be a little bit cautious with him. I hate these teams and their cryptic hints at what a player may or may not play. But at 68, 700 is the risk reward at just 31 minutes there for him against the Knicks. The Knicks are going to bring you a slow-paced game. The Pacers have been playing pretty down in pace. So it would probably ultimately be a spot where I just wait and see. And I assume that Sabonis, Brogdon, turn. There's enough resistance to hope that he doesn't break the slate. A guy that I would probably like to talk about is Miles Turner at 6,700. Against the Knicks front court, because of Miles Turner being a big that chucks threes, it's such a different, feel than that you're a normal, traditional guy trying to dunk on Mitchell Robinson. Miles Turner had one game against the Knicks earlier this season where he dropped 57 fantasy points because he was chucking threes, 7 for 10. Is something like that a potential range of outcome for this game today? I think yes, and I think 30 plus fantasy points has been there for him in a couple of matchups that really maybe shouldn't benefit, like at Utah against Rudy Gobert on a back-to-back, the Denver to Utah back-to-back 30 bombs. I think Miles Turner maybe deserves a little bit more respect. He's not quite been as bad as years past Turner, where he plays 24 minutes and gets kind of pushed to the bench, something like that. So I'm just saying 6,700. I think Miles Turner's in my DraftKings player pool, and the rest of the Pacers seem volatile enough that they would probably be introduced in tier 3 levels. Like I think Malcolm Brogdon gives me a puncher chance at 40 plus. Tier 3, same with Sabonis. I do like what we're seeing with Sabonis, right? Instead of 10K Sabonis, we're starting to get to the 8K Sabonis. And now the risk reward starts becoming something to really think about going forward. So hopefully one of these days when a Brogdon or LeVert and or both end up being down, Sabonis is the easy play of the slate. But even now at 8,800, he's a little less risky than the 10K Sabonis, and 40 plus fantasy points, something he's achieved in 2 of his last 3 games. And against the Knicks earlier this season, not as great, but I do think Sabonis is going to be in the mix for me going forward, and I'm hoping he gets even more down into the low 8Ks. On the Knicks side, I really think I'm going to be without the Knicks today. They've been pretty hit or miss. They've been very volatile in terms of which guard thrives on X day. Kemba Walker did earn himself a price increase after a big shooting night against his old team, Charlotte Hornets. But for a Thibodeau team, it's pretty evenly distributed minutes, at least in the guard area. Derrick Rose, Alec Burks, Obi Toppin doing enough off the bench that I think I'm staying away from the Knicks. You could get to some Julius Randle, and I wouldn't talk you down on it. But for the most part, I'm really just looking at Miles Turner. Let's get caught up on chat before we move on to the next one. Quinn says, I promise that I'm not trying to bury your leads. Now you're vibing. Are we really at 58 likes without any without even asking? That's love, man. If you I guess I didn't officially give you guys a number for a week pass giveaway, but man, we're so far close. How about 110 again, right? 110 likes, and we'll do a week pass giveaway at the end of the stream. I think we can pull that off. So if you guys want that, keep it going, and we'll throw out another week pass. Tall says, I say, what up, Tall? His blocks is what greats. Miles Turner, yeah, he can definitely get some blocks, averaging over 3 blocks per game. That beefs up his Fanduel stock for sure. It doesn't look like the Knicks as a team are allowing an egregious amount of blocks per game, but yeah, Turner's definitely good. And then block players, turn into volatile foul players, but I do like Miles Turner. Turner's going to get a lot of open shots. Pacers have good 3 drive and dish guys. Yup. I do like it. And if they ever get TJ Warren back in the mix, I'm there. We have this tag on Duarte. What's that about? Might be some more threes to take. You know what I'm saying? Chris Duarte questionable with a sore right ankle. He played through the injury after getting hurt on Saturday. His status is likely hinges on how the ankle responds to shoot around. If he's out, Justin Holiday, Jeremy Lamb should benefit the most. Justin Holiday did just have a fake game. I'm not going to chase it, but something to at least be cognitive of. Sabonis hasn't been getting the assists right. He doesn't pay attention to me. What happened? Nobody says, well, I don't care how many likes. I will make sure I get a puppy. No puppies. McConnell, if Duarte is out. I think McConnell's skill set is probably going to be a little different than what Duarte's is, but I guess if you just give him the minutes, I guess Brogdon could be more of the shooting guard here. McConnell's not a guy I really bank on for 20 shots or anything like that, but he just fills the stat sheet enough to where if you threw 25, 28, 30 minutes at him, yeah, it'd be in the pool. Nothing I'm going crazy about. The 21 real points that he put up against Utah is so not like him. Usually the 10 points with a bunch of assists and a bunch of steals is the expectation for TJ McConnell. So yeah, I guess if Duarte is out and the lineup looked like it would impact him immediately, sure. But I still think if Duarte's out, you probably just get a Justin Holiday, Torrey Craig, Jeremy Lamb, somebody like that, and then still want TJ to run the second unit. That's just my guess. Earlier I said 110 likes for a P. Oh, okay. Okay. Well, 110 likes. We'll give out a week pass. Maybe that's why the likes are up. I just thought y'all were liking the stream. Shaking my head. Denver Nuggets at the Dallas Mavericks. Project starting 5 for the Nuggets. Monte Morris. Austin Rivers. I hate Austin. Aaron Gordon, Jeff Green, and Nikola Jokic. What is this lineup? Up against Luka Doncic, Tim Hardaway Jr., Dorian Finney-Smith, Kristaps Porzingis, and Dwight Powell. So I scoff at this lineup, but it got the job done last night. So what do I know? All right, Mike Malone is the GOAT, and old Gun doesn't know. But what Gun does know is that Nikola Jokic is an absolute beast, a monster even. And we have done enough already to raise his usage rate without Jamal Murray, without Michael Porter Jr. And now, no Will Barton. I mean, he's gonna do it all. Like, he's gonna do even more. Like, I guess just because I'm curious. Already without MPJ and Jamal Murray, he was averaging 2 fantasy points per minute. I'm just curious to see what the number is if we go back to the beginning of last year, and we put Jokic on and we start taking off all these players. What kind of numbers the old Wowie's gonna spit back? So let's put Murray in the mix. Let's put Maga Porter in the mix, and then let's also add Will Barton. Now, yeah, there's gonna be some guys like I don't know, Paul Millsap, guys that aren't on the team anymore, but just taking off these 3 main guys from the beginning of last year and putting Jokic on the court. Austin Rivers, yeah, didn't Austin Rivers leave yesterday and not come back? All right, so actually his points per minute is only 1.74. My bad. But a 37.5% usage rate, 34% assist rate, 30% defensive. Like, this is actually insane. So it is a back-to-back, but that's the type of volume, the numbers, the usage that's just nuts. And what else is nuts is I don't know how do I say this. I've coded an algorithm that is somewhat conservative. And now this year I did tweak it to be a little bit more aggressive. I put in 34 minutes on Jokic, and the algorithm spit back a number I have never seen projected. 69 DKP, 73.58 Fanduel. That's insane. Honestly, like, it just feels so wrong. Look, like, I literally have them 15 to 20 points better than the next guy as a conservative projection. Either I effed up somewhere along the way in the algorithm, or my process is saying, hey, Gun, 11 game slate, you're probably going to want to play Nikola Jokic because there's going to be plenty of value to fit him in here. Where are you guys at? Is Jokic at 11.5, 11.7K, is he tier 1 levels of potential? Is he going to be your highest owned guy? I usually these 11, 12K guys, I do not grade that high, or at least I don't set myself up for that much exposure to him. And last night, that 28 minutes, if that becomes 35 minutes, another 65, 70 fantasy points, probably in the range of outcomes. He was a board and assist away from a triple-double, but they just happened to blow out the Damian Lillard-less Blazers here. I think if you guys script this game to be more competitive, Dallas favored by 5.5. It is a back-to-back. If I'm getting full minutes from Jokic, I think this is just unreal potential here. So I'm going to be wrestling with what to do with Jokic. I feel like the responsible decision right now is to put him as a high tier 2, just because he's so expensive. If he did flop, it would probably be pretty crippling. But man, oh man, was I stunned to see that type of projection spit back. Now, past Jokic, the Denver Nuggets offer a really cheap team. There's only Aaron Gordon over 5K. Everyone else is going to be really, really cheap potential value play. Monte Morris under 4,500 on both sides. I don't really see myself getting to Rivers. Like we said, he did get banged up yesterday. Keep an eye on that. Bones Highland, PJ Dozier. These are guys that we saw thrive yesterday. I do want to be responsible and go look at, maybe some of the results here, and make sure that, maybe the fourth quarter or blowout time didn't really beef up a lot of these numbers. But Bones Highland has back-to-back 30 fantasy point games. So let's go look at last night's game for the Denver Nuggets. And while we do that, let's see what you guys are saying here, because it's nuts. Mundo's Earl said Bones Highland gun. Let's go. Horton Tucker, we like that. Bones is not sneaky today. Jokic is dang near 2 fantasy points per minute in this situation. It's insane. It's dumb. Joker put up 53 DKP in 3 quarters last night. Actually nuts. I have Jokic. Jesse says, wow, I have Jokic 33 minutes with 57.5. Even that's that's high. But yeah, Jokic is looking nuts, right? He almost triple-doubled in 3 quarters. Think about that. Another triple-double, like another assist, another rebound. That's almost like, what, 8-10 points between the peripherals and the bonuses. The double-double bonus and then the triple-double bonus. Like, it can get really, really bad. I'm tempted to play a bunch. I am also tempted. Bless you. I'll have a lot. Jokic Doncic dueling triple-doubles tonight. You like that? I can get behind that. All right, last night, who cleaned up in garbage time that might be fool's gold today? Well, the cleanup crew was Jamaica. I guess the true cleanup crew was Bol Bol, Zeke Naji, Marcus Howard, Facundo Campazzo, and then Nashawn Highland. Is that Bones Highland? Is that his real name? Yeah, you guys can corroborate that. I'm assuming Bones Highland is Nashawn Highland. If that is the case, he did play a lot of those fourth quarter minutes, perhaps 5 to 8 of them. So maybe we have too high of an expectation from him if we script a competitive game. Something to think about going forward. If this game stayed more competitive, it did look like Austin Rivers is a little bit more part of the game plan. Now, I did see that he got banged up yesterday, but was that also a product of a blowout and they didn't need him to come back? Let's get caught up. Undisclosed will be available for Monday's matchup with the Mavericks. He left Sunday's game against the Blazers with an apparent injury, but he was not put on the injury report. Okay. So I don't want to talk anyone off of Highland, right? If you're there, you're there. But it does look like Highland at least benefited from a fourth quarter. And in that last run in the fourth quarter, assist, rebound, 2 steals, a couple of he made a 3, a couple of free throws, rebound. So a little bit of a decent run there at the end. So maybe keep that in mind and maybe don't lock Highland in, you know what I'm saying? Unless Rivers was out or something like that. I want to go Harold Turner at center, but you got me wanting to play Jokic. Man, Jeff, you know what I'm saying? I'm just here doing I'm thinking out loud research. I always say go with your gut, because I ain't trying to hear it at 10:30, 11:30 when I'm man, I was on this Mo Bamba 80 bomb, but Dawn had me to think about, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to be blamed. So you firing off that bullet tonight, that bullet got your name on it. I'm just out here doing a little research, thinking out loud, and talking through it. So, be responsible for that decision. If I influenced it, man, that's all, it is what it is. That's what I do. But, so go with your gut. Monte Morris, 4,200 on Fanduel, 44 on DK. So, looking at that on-off query that we just ran, Monte Morris had a usage rate of 21%, and that's, for him, that's pretty solid, almost a fantasy point per minute. So I'd be right there on maybe leaning on him pretty hard for value. Somebody's got to make up for a little bit of that Will Barton absence, and I think if anything, if last night's an indication, I think Monte Morris could be that guy. So give me some Monte Morris here. You would think Aaron Gordon would finally have a reason to thrive here. I got him at 33 minutes. It's spitting back mid-30s. It's a hard-to-trust guy. But if we get a full game here, I definitely don't mind taking some shots on Gordon, but it would be tier 3 at best, more than likely. All right? On the Mavericks, you guys say AD's questionable? Anthony Davis thumb probable, unless did it just change or nah? Keep an eye on that. There's enough value out there where we can take a very strong stance on Jokic. Yeah, definitely on an 11 game slate. Where heck, a lot of the values on the same team as Jokic, so it somewhat positively correlates because of Jokic's ridiculous assist rate. On the Mavs side, though, are we running back some of this Jokic infatuation and love that we're developing here? Luka Doncic looking a little bit more like old Luka. Maybe it took some Porzingis back in the mix for some of these games to come back. But against San Antonio the other night, 80 fantasy points has given you 50 plus in 4 of his last 5. I think at this price point, obviously on a 11 game slate, when you're priced as a top 2 guy on the slate, you need to be the top 1 scorer. $400 discrepancy between Jokic and him. I don't know how convenient it would be to get them both in the lineup, but it is at least something worth noting that, hey, Doncic is looking like we got that ceiling potential back in the mix here. So I don't mind putting some Doncic in our lineups. You guys, if you're like me, you're probably going Jokic over Doncic, borderline snap call. But I'm wondering if there's going to be some lineups floating out there that go mad studs and scrubs. I'm talking super studs and scrubs. I think it's possible. I don't like to go too EKGE, but I guess it is viable. Porzingis on both sides, 7K plus, looking for 40 plus. So right about the median projection there. Anyone else from the Mavs side you guys are digging? I don't really see any priority plays here. Jalen Brunson, 5,800 on both sides. I need 30 plus. That's about what the projection is. So I think all of the other pricing in this game is pretty efficient, but Jokic is the guy that I wonder where the field's at. I wonder where I'm going to be at. And I wonder, what is this true outcome if he gets a competitive game with this usage at 35 minutes? It's just nuts. What he can do, right? AD is playing against his hometown team. I haven't seen questionable anywhere except Yahoo. All right. It looked, yeah, the tweet that I saw was probable, but yeah. Yahoo defaults all injury tags to questionable. Okay. AD's out here playing like you want to win MVP? What? I didn't quite get that vibe. I'm sure he does want to win MVP. But you got to do more than what they've been doing, right? Lakers are not looking great. Davis was in my initial lineup with no Q tag. That news came out today around 3:45. I think it's probable. I could definitely see how that news alert maybe triggered some skepticism, but it looks like he's probable, at least from what I just saw from Underdog. But definitely, if you see something with like this a mostly reliable, credible source, man, share it with the class. Let us know. It is AD, right? No matter what, we should almost just always assume that he's questionable. Trying to get some cat dander off of me. And I don't know where the roly part is, but I found one of the sticky parts. Anyway. Steph is getting MVP. I think Steph is looking Steph is looking good, but hey, what about last year's MVP? Nikola Jokic is looking pretty doggone good too, Let's not forget that. Let's move on to the next game. Minnesota Timberwolves hosting the Phoenix Suns. Also, Kevin Durant. Keep an eye on him, man. He's got a ridiculous field goal percentage going on right now. There's a couple guys that are in the mix strongly. Phoenix Suns at the Minnesota Timberwolves. Project starting 5 for the Suns: Chris Paul, Devin Booker, McCall Bridges, Jay Crowder, and maybe DeAndre Ayton. Keep an eye on that. D'Angelo Russell, Patrick Beverley crossing over with Anthony Edwards, Jared Vanderbilt, and Karl Anthony Towns. The big cat, Ernie Ladd, 2-2-2, and another one. 2s are total 3.5 point spread favor the visiting Phoenix Suns. And when it comes to the case of DeAndre Ayton, pause for editing and go. DeAndre Ayton missed a couple games, is listed as still questionable. Monty Williams said DeAndre Ayton, with his leg injury, is getting his conditioning back, and that would be key to his return. Ayton missed his 5th straight game on Sunday, but he was quite active at shoot-around, so it feels like he's close. The Suns are on the second leg of a back-to-back tonight, meaning they won't host a shoot-around today, so we likely won't get another update on Ayton until he's able to get through his pregame routine. If he misses another one, that'll result in another start for Tragic Brunson. And more minutes for Frank Kaminsky. Tragic Brunson alert. Tragic Brunson alert. So keep an eye on that. If Ayton plays, 6,300, probably too soft of a price point for him. He would, in a way, be the freshest legs on his team. Something to watch. I do think all of the Suns, if Ayton was out, are priced really nice, right? 8, 9, 86 on Chris Paul. You could see 45, 50 there. Devin Booker, maybe the Fanduel price point's a little bit more welcoming. Jay Crowder looked for 25, 30. I wouldn't really get to him with any level of confidence, but last night we saw a big game out of JaVale McGee, and we know Frank Kaminsky has those Olynyk type games as well. So would not be super, super high on any Sun no matter what, just because of the rest of the slate. But there would be some viable options here. Seems like it's not a lock to have Ayton information by main slate lock, so you kind of just have to roll with the punches. On the T-Wolf side, D-Ross, Edwards, and Cat have been my main 3 targets for this squad. Karl-Anthony Towns, I would say his matchup gets a lot better if Ayton's out. I'm not really overthinking his matchup anyway, but in context of the slate, man, if I'm going to have this Jokic infatuation, it's probably going to devoid me of a little bit of Karl-Anthony Towns exposure. And then Edwards and D-Russ become a little bit more volatile at these prices. I'm looking for a strong 40 plus, maybe 50. Definitely viable, but not something I'm running towards in this matchup. If you go look at the team metric chart in the rundfs.com NBA VIP spreadsheet, and sort it from best defensive rating to worst. Phoenix is a little bit above league average right now, and DeAndre Ayton's return would probably make him a little bit stronger. And then offensive efficiency, the Minnesota Timberwolves, Minnesota, they're actually up there. Actually down there, 102.9 points per 100 possessions, a net rating of -4.3. So could be an uphill battle for the T-Wolves here. It is a 3.5 point spread. There was nothing on Chris Paul, right? The other day, I kind of spoke an Al Horford out into existence. Looking at this season, chat, I don't want to start rumors, but looking at this season, they haven't had a back-to-back for Chris Paul to play, right? So Could Chris Paul sit night 2 of a back-to-back? I think it's possible. And the only reason I'm like even putting that out here irresponsibly live on YouTube is because we haven't seen him play a back-to-back this year. So something to think about. And if you knew right now that Chris Paul was out, what does $8,100 Devin Booker do for you? You know what I'm saying? So just thinking about that. Nothing to say. No, I see nothing that suggests that, but it was just something. Chris Paul is one of those type of players that I think about with that manner. So yeah, let's get caught up on chat before we do anything else. Jeff says, last time I played AD, you got a tummy ache and my night was over. Yeah, MVP. AD can have the watery eyes and will not return to the game. Stu says Towns' birthday narrative. Karl-Anthony Towns, big cat, Ernie Ladd. Yeah, okay. How old is he now? The birthday boy age. Yo, Gun, what's up, Izzo? Yeah. Cheers with the Bang energy drinks. What kind of pupping? Stop. What is this? November 15, 95. Golly, what are you guys doing with your life? November 15, 1995, 26 years old. So yeah, it is Cat's birthday. So shout out to you guys for having that information. I am not looking to get a puppy, Izzo. You guys are being manipulated in this false narrative that I'm in the market for a puppy. I will say when I do change living environment, I would be back to getting a golden retriever. My favorite dog of all time, my best friend Doug, was part Goldie. And he was the best dog I've ever had. So would probably be that, right? I'd auto lock Cameron Payne if he does sit. Okay. I played the Westbrook birthday narrative. Yeah, that one hurt. You were in kindergarten in 95. Stu, you're making me feel old, bro. Kindergarten, 95. I wasn't kindergarten, but I was in where's my Staten Island folks? PS 39 in Staten Island. That's where I was in 95. Let's move on to the next game here. Miami Heat at the Oklahoma City Thunder. Project starting 5 for the Heat. Kyle Lowry, Duncan Robinson, Jimmy G Buckets, PJ Tucker, and Bam Adebayo taking on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Lou Dort, Josh Giddey, Darius Baisley, and Jeremiah Robinson, Earl. 207.5 is our total. 9 point spread in favor of the visiting Miami Heat. So Miami Heat will offer some nuggets of information for us to process and react to. Jimmy Butler, right ankle sprain, questionable for this game. He's missed Miami's last 2 games due to the sprained ankle, which he suffered during the first quarter of Wednesday's loss to the Lakers. It's worth noting that he was also listed as questionable ahead of Saturday's game in Utah, only to be ruled out. If Butler's able to play, that would shift Tyler Hero back to his 6-man role. So you guys get that. And then Bam Adebayo, left knee bruise, is probable for this game. And everything else seems to be lined up appropriately. So I guess this is one of those, if you knew right now Jimmy Butler was out, what are you doing with $6,900 Tyler Hero, $6,600 Hero and DK? I think they're all viable. I think the Thunder are just like in a really bad spot. A 9-point spread no matter what, right? And you guys want to talk some differences in metrics. The Thunder have the second worst offensive efficiency in all of basketball, and the Miami Heat have a top 10, 105.5 points per 100 possessions. And we know there's been a couple games without Butler, a couple games without Adebayo. You put them all together here, there's an uphill battle at best for the Thunder. If they're going to compete, it's going to be on the backs of SGA, Lou Dort, and Josh Giddey. And I will give Lou Dort a little bit more love and a little bit more credit now. Chat. I'm doing the... Ooh, yeah. I'm doing the Lou Dort dig it. I'm doing the Macho Man thing again. I can't control it. Lou Dort, doubled his shot attempts now in every game, or all of his last 9 games. So that's encouraging. 20-plus real points in 3 games straight. Getting more involved here. So I was a guy that was pretty sour on Dort, generally speaking, but I do think Dort's somebody that lately I've been seeing pop in some of my better lineups. Now that's in the 5K or less price ranges. You know, maybe as it gets closer to 6K, it won't be that exciting, and definitely not in this matchup against the Miami Heat. But it is something to be cognitive of, that he is growing offensively. SGA, Josh Giddey, the other guys I'd be looking at. Darius Bazley is questionable. Derek Favors is out. Let me get the Bazley news here, and then we will matriculate on while I get roasted. Darius Bazley is dealing with a right foot plantar fasciitis. Fasciitis is no joke. I can attest to that. It's a mild case because if it's serious, it's something that often lingers and causes you to miss extended time. So yeah, if that's still a thing that he's dealing with, you might see a really strapped front court. You might see the re-emergence of Alexei Pokusevsky or even Kenrich Williams. So something to think about for there, right? Cheers to Doug, the Golden Retriever. Yes, sir. What up, David Correa? You got to be old school wrestling to know the Big Cat. Most here have no idea. Yeah, he recently passed a couple years ago, right? 95 was in the 9th grade. Woo wee! Sheesh! If we're being real, without Jimmy, Bam can match Jokic in this game. Stop it! Stop it! Desmond. Everyone gets one. Right? I get Raj isn't here. But we not just finna... Nah, Bam could drop 50 plus for sure. I don't want to, like... He absolutely could be a beast today in a vacuum, in and of himself. AK, he could drop 50 plus 60, be a great play. But Jokic could really drop 80 tonight if he gets full minutes. So I do worry a little bit about the blowout potential here, but the Mavs haven't been a super Saiyan. Is a Saiyan? I'm trying to be hip offense, so I don't know. Nathan Wagner, what's up, Nate? Best sub 4K play, Josh Richardson? No. No. Unless I missed something significantly for the Celtics, I would probably say sub 4K would probably... I'll tell you, if you want to write something down, Kevin Huerter. Keep an eye on him. I think he's a strong play as is, and if Bogdanovich is out, with DeAndre Hunter already being out, 30-plus minutes of him could be really, really nice. And Taylor Horton Tucker's an interesting one as well. JYD, the Junkyard Dog. Let's go. Junkyard Dog. I used to live in Atlanta as a kid. And my mom and stepdad worked at the Waffle House across the street from this motor lodge I was living at. And you guys know the 90s life in Atlanta. essentially was WCW headquarters. So all the wrestlers would often stay at the same motor lodge, and I'd meet them. One time, Junkyard Dog walked me around. Like, we just went walking, like, and he was just like a cool dude. And I must have been 6, 7 years old. So that's my JYD story. Rest in peace, JYD. Get me on there, gun. You need a new token, Brown man. And we'll see. Randy the I was listening to Alternative Rock in 95. Let's go, baby. Injuries might catch up with the Nuggets tonight. They just might. Raptors news makes the whole slate. Yeah. Let's move on to the next game here. Where are we at on games? We got three games left. We're doing good time. So let's move on to this Rockets game. Rockets at the Grizzlies. Project starting 5 for the Rockets. Kevin Porter Jr., Jalen Green, Jayshawn Tate, Daniel Tice, Christian Wood. Hey, babe. Do you like Christian Wood? That's a bit. What? Do you like Christian Wood?
Yes.
All right. Up against Ja Morant, Desmond Bane, Dylan Brooks, Jaren Jackson Jr., and Stone Cold Steven Adams. Gonna get you 1 board. What? 2 boards. What? 9 boards. He's only averaging 8.8. 219.5 star total. 12-point spread in favor of the home team, Memphis Grizzlies. I mean, they have a lopsided one. So proceed with caution on the Rocket side. You know, KPJ and Christian Wood, really the 2 guys I'm most likely to click on. Past that, Eric Gordon did kind of get dropped into a lingering Q tag, I think, with a groin injury. So I guess if Eric Gordon was down, that might be 25, 30 minutes that we could spread out between Jaylen Brown, KPJ, maybe David Nwaba, Daniel House even. It might be some small beneficiaries here, but I think everyone's just like 5K, 6K, kind of nasty. So Rockets are not going to be priority plays for me tonight. Ja Morant's interesting, but he's 10K. He just gets lost in the sauce for me compared to everything else on the slate, right? If I'm going to be high on Jokic or some of these other 10K guys, like I do like the thought of Ja Morant being a massive real point contributor, but I need 50, right? And 50 is just kind of the you know what I'm saying? It's the expectation. So if I miss out on a barely 50, 53, whatever, all right, cool. It's when those raw points turn into the 65s and the 70s, which I have a real, I'm gonna say expectation, but I really think it's way more likely for Jokic to get to 70 today than Ja Morant, if that makes any sense, especially with Dylan Brooks in the mix. Still got the Anthony Melton, Desmond Bane. You got a double-digit spread to contend with, more than likely. Like there's so many negatives for Ja Morant here to not make him a priority play. If you play him, he drops 50, you're fine with that, cool. But I don't think I'm gonna be super stoked to get behind that. Steven Adams is intriguing. Again, not a priority play. 5'8", 5'6". I think he's worth, over 6K in salary based on his production this year. Trying to get a loose end, double shot. But again, the center spot just has a lot of upside. And on a big slate, I kind of want the big boys, right? So what are you guys doing with this game? I don't have a lot of clicks here. I think a 12-point spread, 11-game slate. This is the most lopsided game on the slate. I probably just can do without it, forego it, get to the rest of the slate. So you guys let me know. Spit the green mist in your face. Shout out to the great Muda. E. Brown, gonna have a new love for your brother straight from the ATL. Let's go. Now, I'm not from ATL. I spent a couple years there. Lived there during while WCW was kind of growing into its heyday, and it was the headquarters and whatever. I'm from Staten Island, right? And I live in Texas, but I've been all over, right? I've been everywhere, man. Gun, your drink just randomly reminded me of Diamond Dallas Space. DDP. I love DDP. Man, we turned into a nostalgia show. Jared Allen, doubtful now. Ooh. Let's go, chat. Shout out to you guys. Let's get the update. Looking at the RunDFS.com VIP Discord. Jared Allen, illness, now doubtful. So in the absence of Jared Allen, knowing that Markin and Kevin Love are still out, we might see Evan Mobley play literally every minute in this game, which is not unlike something that he's already kind of been doing. So maybe Evan Mobley at 7'5", 7'2", becomes an uncomfortable but perhaps worth 40 minutes of a click. 40 minutes against Boston last game, 35-30. So you see, in competitive games, he's already playing a lot of minutes anyway. So Mobley might have to be out there for as long as his foul and legs can allow him. Who else might benefit in this front court? Did you know Ed Davis plays for the Cavs? Well, if you don't know, now you know. I don't know that he would be part of anything, but I mean, it's at least saying something that they'd rather have 40 minutes of Allen and Mobley and not give Ed Davis minutes, but he's on the depth chart. You might see Mobley play the 5 and stretch out Jetty Osman. Something like that. Dean Wade, I don't know. They might just have to play small. So depending on what they have in mind for Ed Davis, Isaac Okoro, maybe stretch out too. No matter which way you slice it, looks like if Mobley stays healthy and out of foul trouble, there's a really good chance at 40-plus minutes for him. So good catch, chat. Appreciate you guys. That's what we do, chat. That's what we do. Spam that news, man. Keep us updated. And then I guess Allen would also represent a lot of rebounds, 11 rebounds per game. So if you're a prop hunter, you're on PrizePicks, something like that, maybe that's more rebounds. And they're already a bad defensive rebounding team. Maybe that's more rebounds for your Robert Williams shares, your Celtics shares, guys like that. So, good catch, chat. Where were we? What game were we on? We were talking about Memphis, right? Do you guys have anything special about Memphis? Probably not. Huh? Mobley tier 1, you think so? I wouldn't hate it. 81 likes. Let's go with the like game. Like game strong. You guys are the best. Literally the best. 110 likes will give away a week pass at rundfs.com. Chronic in the chat. Shout out to Chronic. Hey, Chronic, how'd Raul Neto versus Goran Dragic do? Love his shot value. Can take the Time Lord away from the rim. Jared or Evan Mobley, yeah. Chronic shoots some tier 1. Yeah, let's go, Chronic. Who the plays? Who the plays? All right. Blazers hosting the Raptors. What am I doing? Why? What am I doing? Raptors up against the Blazers. Project 75 for the Raptors. Fred VanVleet, Gary Trent Jr., OG Anunoby, Scotty Barnes, Pascal Siakam taking on Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum, Norman Powell, Robert Covington, and Yusuf Nurkic. 211.5 our total, 1.5 point spread in favor of the home team. Portland Trailblazers. Hey, yo. Valentino Blackwell, appreciate that sub. Shout out to all the lurkers out there. If you haven't subbed yet, we're trying to get to 6K by January 1. We're looking for news on Damian Lillard. Lillard sat last night, and CJ McCollum and company had a pretty down experience at Denver. So night 2 of a back-to-back. They would really like Damian Lillard to play bolster. He's dealing with an abdomen injury. He initially suffered the injury back when he was playing in the Olympics. And he's shown discomfort throughout the season as reflected by his 38% shooting from the field. It's hard to really know how much time Dame could miss past this since he's generally so durable and plays through most things, but Anthony Simons is definitely worth a look for Sunday and possibly beyond. So that's from yesterday. So if Lillard is really got this issue going on, yeah, Simons, somebody was asking for the best under 4K play. I mentioned Kevin Huerter, but if there's no Dame, Anthony Simons is close to being a lock and a core value play without a doubt and everything. Yesterday, while CJ McCollum struggled at his price point, Anthony Simons did not. And Simons could probably be a 5-6K player if Dame was out and the sites had enough time to react. 28 minutes last night against Denver, 30 fantasy points. Remember, they did not have a fourth quarter. I don't think he was on the court in the fourth quarter either, but don't catch me lying. Let me see if I can't confirm that for you guys. And what that would mean is he 1-to-1 for Dame Lillard's minutes, right? 27 minutes last night, didn't touch the court in the fourth quarter. So, yeah, could he have gotten to 34, 35 minutes as one of the ball handlers and filling in for Dame? Yeah, I think he could have. So, be all about some Simons here. And then, of course, a boost for McCollum, Norman Powell. It could be an excellent exercise for Goldfish memory in a DFS bubble. Right, McCollum with just like a 30 yesterday was very, very crippling at 50% ownership if you had him. Would the field be lighter on him, knowing or not knowing Damian Lillard's status here? If you knew right now that Lillard was out, would you let yesterday sour your expectation here, or would you remember McCollum without Damian Lillard typically is a good play? Let's go run a stat here. CJ McCollum, DKP by game log without Damian Lillard last 10 games. Pop. Yeah, nothing but 40s outside of last night. So if they don't get blown out, even last night, like he had a really rough first half. He had to get 2 fantasy points in the first quarter. Not likely a reasonable range of outcome. So if even last night, if he got into the fourth quarter, he had a shot. And I think if you're happy with 40 plus at this price point, he's almost like he's not unplayable at this price point with Dame in. He just has so much more potential with Dame out. So definitely don't mind getting to McCollum no matter what, and maybe he'll be some late game leverage if Lillard was ruled out. Right, I do wonder what the field ownership would be in this moment right now if you knew Dame was out versus if Dame gets rolled out 2 hours after initial lock. Something to think about. On the Raptors side, plenty of news and notes to watch from the Raptors that could be implications to minute projections. Fred VanVleet, left groin soreness, will not play or did not play against the Pistons. Nick Nurse said VanVleet's groin has been an issue for a while, so it makes sense to sit him versus the Pistons. There's no telling what direction Nurse will go here, so keep an eye on VanVleet for this game. If he can't go, you might see Goran Dragic start again, but I will say that Delano Banton could have a chance to grow and evolve. That night, if you follow me on Twitter, that night that Goran Dragic started in the absence of Fred VanVleet, Banton had played on the 10th for 14 minutes. The next night on the 11th for 16 minutes. On the 12th, he played for, is it the 906 or something, the G League team for the Raptors. He played 30 minutes, almost triple-doubled. And then the next night, played 19 minutes. So he played 4 nights in a row of, big league basketball minutes. And the one in the middle was 30 minutes. So he got his cardio in for 4 days. Now, I wonder if he didn't just play 30 minutes the night before, would Nick Nurse had leaned on him for more than 19? 19 minutes in that scenario is still aggressive. So if you knew later in the night that VanVleet was out, I do think there's a stronger chance for Banton to get some more run here, because we have seen Nurse be open about saying, I need to give Banton more minutes. So keep that in mind. Precious Achiuwa also has a tag on him. He is dealing with right shoulder tendonitis. And then Chris Boucher has a tag on him. He has a sore back. He's questionable for this game. Pascal Siakam is probable, and Siakam is a huge I want to say concept, but a concept of the slate. One thing we were worried about with Siakam last game was minutes, right? Same thing with Brandon Ingram, right? Karis LeVert. Like, we're wondering where they're at and their how many minutes they can play. And we were the lingering status with Siakam would be limited. Well, he played 35 minutes, and how obvious of a play is 35 minutes Siakam with no VanVleet against the Pistons in the post-Kawhi, post-everyone era of Raptors basketball. So it would absolutely be in the mix for me tonight, almost no matter what. Like, I do think there's a case for him, but obviously if VanVleet was to be down, I think the matchup is pretty solid for Siakam here. Just out of curiosity, how solid is it? The Blazers allow... it's not that solid. I was thinking the Blazers might have been top 5 in DVP, but we're going to do. Scotty Barnes, Gary Trent Jr. I think it's a Gary Trent revenge game under 6K on DraftKings, if that means anything to you. Other than that, you guys got any fire plays from here? I think a lot of it is contingent on news. VanVleet and Damian Lillard being the biggest part, right? Josh Gilham says, I think Lillard plays tonight. He wants to play last night. CJ was in the winning lineup somehow. I think he was so high owned that, it almost couldn't, I don't say couldn't, but it was so high owned that it was still possible. Value, Simons, THC, Herder, McGee, Kaminsky. Oh, okay, that's just chronic. K-Dog. So if Lillard did play tonight, you guys know this. Rinse, wash, repeat. The opportunity on him for Fanduel still pretty cheap. I was not really that aware that he had been dealing with an injury from the Olympics. Definitely could be something that has spiked his inefficient shooting to start the season. And so, it's something that we could be conscious of going forward. I just thought he was shooting bad. I didn't know about this abdomen injury that he was carrying. So Ooh, interesting. Hey, chat, we have one game left on the docket. Let's take a pause for the cause. 2 plugs. While we're doing the plugs, man, let's see how strong you guys can get these likes. We need 15, we need 25 more likes. We'll give away a week pass for rundfs.com. And let's do a plug for both of those things, Run DFS, and then let's do Prize Picks first, right? Because that'll bleed into the other one. So with Prize Picks, if you guys have not signed up for Prize Picks yet, what are you doing? Because everyone has a code and everyone's pushing it. But if you haven't, man, I definitely recommend it. PrizePicks.com. It simplifies DFS, and I say it, these nights, these 11 game slates where there's so much news and it's easily overwhelming. If you don't have time to really process everything and just have everything tighten, and you didn't have time to hang out on YouTube for 4 hours before lock, it can easily overwhelm you, and you're not going to catch the the Bones Highlander, guys like that, right? But you can still play, you can still get some action out there. And Prize Picks, I think, has the simplest, easiest way to go get some of that action. And instead of sweating 90,000 entry field versus the smartest players in the industry with 150 lineups, you're just sweating the player, you're sweating the projection, you're sweating the over-under. And even more so, as much as it is for us to keep a net over the news and information that flies at you on an 11-game slate, Prize Picks has to do the same. And what we've seen is that maybe they're not as quick on the draw to adjust their lines as maybe you can be. So when someone gets rolled out later tonight, if you did get a random Lillard out, or I said that Chris Paul, in the back of my mind, Chris Paul hasn't played a back-to-back this year. In my mind, there's a chance he could be out. We can go get some boosted numbers in our projections for guys like Devin Booker, and maybe they take a little too long to adjust. And now that the Jared Allen news came out, right? You see that news drop, you can go attack them and diversify your daily spend and reward the research you're already doing. All you got to do is put at least 2 picks together, bet over under versus their projection, and you can get up to 5. You can power play up to 4, get 10x your return. So turn $100 into $1,000, right? It's that easy. So go check them out. If you sign up using code GUNDACKER, they will double your first deposit up to $100. So $30 turns into $60, and so on and so forth. The way I like to play Prize Picks is I like to look at my fantasy projections, which are accessible in the rundfs.com VIP spreadsheet, which you guys can get access to by going through that pesky paywall at rundfs.com, getting yourself a pass. When you do that, you click VIP portal. It'll have some links to the NBA spreadsheet and the Discord and the rundfs.com avatar if you want to wave that flag in battle. And I like to go to the player props tab down here, and I like to look at PP fantasy point projections, right? This is basically Fanduel. It is Fanduel scoring. It's the NBA official scoring. I think there is value in betting points and peripherals and stuff like that, but I'm keeping it simple. I like to keep it simple, and I like to bet the fantasy points, and I like to look at the biggest discrepancies between my projections and theirs. And if I can find a +5, a +8, a 10+ fantasy point discrepancy, I will. So Nikola Jokic is my highest fantasy scoring guy. If I go up here and I click fantasy score, just perusing through the lobby, see what they might have. Where is Jokic? Control F Jokic. They got him at 54. Guys, my projection, I really might have to throttle this, but I have a 20-point difference. Like, that's nuts. So I'm probably gonna bet some Jokic overs on their line. They have Doncic at 48. Who's somebody a little bit more realistic, right? Who's somebody in the 30s that we can say, all right, my projection is a little bit over based on what they might have here. You guys like the cat birthday narrative, go for it. Russell Westbrook against the Bulls at 44. Anthony Davis at 50. What about Lonzo Ball? Lonzo Ball's at 31, and I do think I'm going to be a sucker for Lonzo Ball tonight. So let's control F Lonzo Ball. And that's going to spit back 36 40. It's going to spit back 40. So I do have a little bit of a gap between their projection and mine. So that's how I like to play. I like to just go bet against the fantasy score. So if you guys want to do that, it is a good companion piece to your prize picks. But no matter what, check them out. Use code Gundecker. And I would appreciate it. What's up, WS? You was like number 88. I appreciate that. That's a good number. That's the year I was born. I'm old. On RotoWire, they have Jetty Osman in the starting lineup, and they move Mobley to center. I think that is the logistical move. If that's the case, I wonder if the Celtics respond or they stay quasi-big with the Horford lineup. But I guess there is a lineup where Horford could start at center and Tatum could be at the 4, and then like J. Rich, Marcus Smart. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know how the Celtics respond, if they even do. Something to think about. Completely fade Boston-Cleveland game. Definitely looks tough. Jetty always sucks every time I play him. No more. I don't think Danny would appreciate you being a sucker for... God dang it. You have an outro for this stream? I'm scared. Did I not set the font down on chat? Chat, have you guys just been looking at a ridiculous font size this whole time and no one told me? Wow, that's on me, chat. That's on me. All right, now it should be fixed. Whoops. Anyway, main event tonight, Bulls at the Lakers. I'll try to get you guys out of here. If you guys got any questions, fire them in chat. After this, we'll do that giveaway. I'm assuming you guys are going to hit the goal. Lonzo Ball, Zach LaVine, Javonte Green, DeMar DeRozan, and Tony Bradley taking on Russell Westbrook, Avery Bradley, Taylor Horton Tucker, Carmelo Anthony, Anthony Davis. We got 216.5 total. 1.5 point spread to favor the visiting Chicago Bulls. Oh, yeah. Back-to-back Bulls in the Staples Center. Buck and the Hook as your favorites. I like Lonzo Ball. I'm a sucker for Lonzo Ball. Man, oh man, has the Lakers bled a lot of fantasy points to opposing everything, but they lead the league in terms of DVP, in terms of fantasy points to opposing point guards here. And Lonzo Ball, I know the results have been lackluster, man, but I'm willing to believe in the matchup, and I'm willing to believe perhaps in the narrative, right? We know. He played in the Staples Center last night, but, back against LA, 34 minutes, 37, 39 minutes. I mean, the opportunity for him in the literal best matchup in all of DFS is too great for me to not jump on. And then, shout out to John, we're always betting over 4.5 turnovers on Russell Westbrook. Well, guess what? Lonzo Ball might be the reason for a bunch of those turnovers tonight. 3-4 steals his last 2 games. You might get a big steal game here. Maybe it's more lucrative for FanDuel purposes, but I do love me some Lonzo. And on top of that, I love me some Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan to an extent. I think DeRozan is from LA. Don't quote me on that. So if you want extra juice on playing guys like that, go for it. I like the 3-man bull stack to an extent. I think it's almost viable on FanDuel and DK. On 11-game slate, it's probably less likely to be optimal, but I think those 3 guys are in the player pool no matter what. We run it back here with the Lakers here. Obviously, Westbrook, Anthony Davis will have good numbers on the usage rate in the absence of LeBron James. So we've seen that this year in competitive games. They'll play a bunch of minutes. We have seen a little bit of a wide range of outcomes based on blowouts versus non-blowouts. So I will have Westbrook and AD in the pool quite liberally. We did see Taylor Horton Tucker introduced into the rotation. He had been out, I think, with an injury for a long time. So at 3K, bare bones min price on DraftKings, dropping in and playing 27 minutes off the bat, 27 DKP, that's a problem. I think that's a mistake by DraftKings to have Horton Tucker at this price point, and I do think he's a little bit of a firecracker for them. And I just think the opportunity cost and the risk reward is, it really doesn't get much better than bare bones minimum price, right? So expect a lot of ownership on THT. And then Melo, Westbrook, like there's plenty of viable Lakers players here, so I don't mind that. I do think the Bulls defensively are stronger than they get credit for it, but without Vucevic, maybe the spacing is a little bit more awkward. Anthony Davis should have a field day against this front court. The Bulls, as strong as their defense is, a lot of their wing and stuff, their front court is they're not set up right now for AD. So AD, if he's healthy, he was probable with that thumb. He could be one of the better late-night hammers on the slate. Obviously, raw points, I'm still leaning Jokic, but AD has a chance to be the hammer. You want the hammer? Well, go on and get the hammer. You know what I'm saying? So I like a lot from this game. I'll be loading up on this game, and many of this will be in the in the player pool. Desmond says, I am scared to play Zoe. Oof. I get it, but I'm in on it. Yeah, if you guys ever notice that in the future about the font being like that, let me know. It's a thing. Because I do the opening screen with the big font, I have to adjust it. You know what I'm saying? All right, we are at where the likes at 94. Am I reading this wrong? Are you guys seeing it differently? We don't have 110 likes, so we don't have to give a week pass. So I get to save $20. I don't know, man. I might do it anyway. One time for the one time, because you guys have been so good. So, hey, good vibes. Hit that thumbs up. Well, let's go ahead and do a week pass, and give it away. Although I feel like I'm that too nice uncle right now. But because you guys have been vibing out, we'll do it anyway. Let me pull it up on the main stage. You guys got any lasting questions, comments, concerns, throw them at me. I'm on Twitter, twitter.com/Gundacker. Hey, we have a really, really big week of free content. Or I have a big week of free content coming at you. Obviously, there's plenty of premium content behind the paywall. But was it Friday? Somebody was in chat. It was like, do you have free stuff? I'm like, you're watching it, right? We do a lot of free stuff, and I have extra free stuff this week. There's going to be two days this week where you can catch me on the Awesemo Slate Starter podcast. So if you guys want some overnight listening, you're playing Madden, you're playing 2K, whatever it is, we'll have that show up for you. And then, of course, the NFL Top Stacks on Friday. All right, timer's going. Exclamation point giveaway in chat, or raffle in chat. While we do that, I'll let you guys know that right after this stream, I will be right here where Big League Stew is in the NBA voice chat. 7 minutes. We'll be chopping it up until lock, carving out our player pools, and hopefully making a winning pool of players to go out there and get the job done tonight. Hot takes and questions in the chat while you guys type raffle, and I'll get I'll try and address everything I see, right? Jeff B says, so is PrizePicks just a double up, or can you wager however much you want? You can. I mean, I don't know if they have a maximum wager, but it's not just a double up. It's actually a little bit more like a parlay, right? Now you can flex play it and get a little safety to your bet. So like if you like 4 plays, you can flex play it and say, hey, even if I get one wrong, I'm gonna get money back. Or you can power play it and get up to 10x back. So meaning if you like you put $10 on 4 things happening tonight, well, that $10 becomes $100 and stuff like that. And they don't just have NBA, by the way. They have literally everything you can think of. CSGO, cricket, disc golf, right? They got the main stuff too, and you could put them all together, right? Tonight there's a football game. You could bet on Odell Beckham. Yeah. You could bet on Odell Beckham to, I don't know, have a touchdown or something like that. And put that with a rebound prop on Evan Mobley. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can put them all together. So if you're well-versed in multiple sports, you get the job done. Just make sure you sign up using promo code Gundacker. Otherwise, your winning chances go down. It's a proven fact. Don't call me on it. Lonzo's just been so bad, man. I think he's been fine. I just think the fantasy result hasn't been whatever, but the minutes are still there, and the path to success in this matchup are absolutely there. So I'm with it. DeRozan's from LA. See, a lot of narratives there, right? Also like Lonzo because it's LA. He's gonna want to show off. I mean, remember they played in LA last night, right? So it's not like, you know, we're creating narratives and we can just look at last night and it was okay, what happened? But it is what it is. What about Caruso? Good question. Caruso revenge game. They got this Austin Reeves kid now, and he's kind of like a white Alex Caruso, you know. 39 minutes for Caruso last night, 33 DKP. Looked like they opted to go small, right? In the absence of Vucevic, instead of using a guy like Elise Johnson, they were just like, let's get some Bradley in our life and let's go small. Can you achieve that and pull that off against the Lakers? We'll see if they double down on it. It's possible, it's viable, and if that happens, if Caruso played a nice chunk of minutes. Also, is Kobe White a thing now? Is Kobe White fully back? If he's in the mix, so he didn't play last night. Billy Donovan said White has been cleared to make his season debut against the Lakers. So Some like I can't play 6,200 Kobe White, but remember Kobe White was not insignificant last year. So that he could interrupt maybe some Caruso expectations. I don't think, obviously, I don't think Caruso is out of the rotation, but the volume and the usage on Kobe White in X amount of minutes, that might trickle down. It might even hurt Lonzo Levine to an extent. So instead of those guys being 35, 38 minutes, we'll see. So we'll see what they do with Kobe White and perhaps his season debut tonight. Where is my space? If I win, someone else wins. Wait, you typed in, what up, Jesse? Fully back, but no word on minutes. Yeah, okay. So chat, if you guys are out there and you're watching, you're lurking, if you haven't subscribed, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We're trying to get to 6K subscribers by January 1. We need like 400 and change. So we got to really pick up some steam. And I've been trying to come up with a bunch of cool, creative ways. Try partnering with other content creators. Yesterday we saw I uploaded a video from a buddy Darian, a little extra content there, and support those guys. So if you guys are out there, you're a content creator with an actual YouTube channel, you want to partner, you want to do something like that, drop a video on this channel. I think that would help me, but also help you. So let me know. 20 seconds on the countdown, exclamation point raffle. We're giving away a week pass, and if you guys win, make sure you type your Twitter handle in chat. The bot will recognize it, and then I'll be looking for you to DM me on Twitter, twitter.com/Gundacker, and I need you to give me your email, and then I'll set you up a week pass, and you'll be ready to go. Wasn't they trying to trade Kobe last year? Maybe. I think Kobe's in the G League right now. Is he? I don't know, man. I just read something that suggests maybe he's not. Said that has been cleared. That was from yesterday. To make his season debut against the Lakers. So I don't. If you guys obviously correct me if I'm wrong, but it looks like he's there with the team. Let me do the outro. What do you mean? What do you mean? I don't know what she means. You mean you? Let me do the outro, like on camera? Why are you not talking? What the all right, let's pick a winner. Alex. Well then, come on, hurry up. Kuzma or Grant, straight up gun. What's your take? And thank you. Grant? Oh, Jeremy Grant? It's probably Kuzma for sure. Guys, I don't know what's going on, but my girl wants to do the outro.
Good luck. God bless. And go get me a puppy.
That's not the...
Yes, it is.
No.
Yes. Puppy.
No.
Puppy. Get me a puppy.
You're weird.
I want a puppy.